Hello, people. You must know. Most of you don't. My name is Preach. I go by the name of Preach, and I'm here with my good friend Abba Atlas. We're here on this podcast, and we have a special guest for you, with us, and for you, both at the same time. Wasim El Munzer.
Yeah.
Cue the claps. No claps. All right.
I be honest with you guys, like people have been asking us why we haven't done a podcast before this.
Why? Why haven't we?
I just didn't want to. I feel like niggas talk too much.
That should be the name of the podcast.
Niggas talk too much.
Yeah, I like that.
No, it's like, you know
can't
what I
say
mean?
the
Like some
title.
people just be talking
I like
too
it.
much. And I'm just like, yo, I don't need to hear you this often. And I'm like, I never want to be one of them people that talks too much.
Like I have another podcast in French, and we do it for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
We was not into that 2-hour thing where people just talk about stuff. And we have precise subjects. So we talk about it like it's a podcast about sex, right? And we don't want to, we don't want to be there for 2 hours talking about it. 2 hours is, it's fun, but it's not everybody that could do it for 2 hours. It's not everybody that got the mojo, the stamina to go on for 2 hours and be interesting. And you're like, oh, yeah, I like every bits of it. So I get it.
Well, the downside to that, though, is like in 30 minutes, you just start to really get in a groove before things really pick up, right?
Yup.
So it's always finding like that sweet spot. Because I know like when we're hanging out as friends, like just generally speaking, and we're having conversations, it takes about an hour before we get into like the really juicy stuff sometimes, you know?
The yum.
Yeah. Because then you're in a flow and everything is just moving super smoothly. So I don't know if 30 minutes is the right amount or like 2 hours, but I feel like that's me though personally. I know I had to come to terms with the fact that I'm not the general public. And
You're definitely not.
And so what I think is like, yo, y'all niggas talk too much. For them is like, please talk some more. You know what I'm saying? Like even us doing 2 YouTube videos a week, sometimes I'm like, God damn, it's a lot to stick with. But then people are like, one every day.
One more. I'm like, yo, calm down.
And I'm trying to curb my internet usage and like my online media stuff. And so for me, I'm like, damn, do I want to contribute to everyone? But everyone has their own needs and desires. Just because I want to curb mine doesn't mean other people want to curb theirs.
No, you can't father everybody.
No.
They have to do their own choices. So if they want more, let them have more,
Yeah.
Let them eat cake.
Flip side to that though is like if you know it's relatively unhealthy, then it's like because by your logic, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're not going to father them. You could also just deal drugs and be like, yeah, I'm not their dad. It's their responsibility. You know what I'm saying?
It's not the same thing.
Obviously, I went to an extreme example, but it is in that same spectrum because
It's
there's
not
a
the
lot
same-
of studies to back up.
It's not the same thing at all, bro.
There's a lot of studies to back up the fact that in moderation, social media is fine, but most people use it in excess, and it does lead to a lot of problems.
I get that.
Yes, so
But
then the same
it's
thing
not-
for a lot of drugs. Drugs in moderation, a lot of them are fine. In excess, they become
Yeah, a little
problem.
bit of heroin here and there. It's always good, a little bit,
Hey, if you're having surgery, you need a little bit of heroin.
Hey,
It's 100%
Hey,
true.
Friday meth. You know what I mean? A little bit of meth.
Meth Fridays?
Meth Fridays.
Some people do meatless Fridays. Some people do teethless Fridays. You know what I mean? So,
one for the gums.
that's a dope sound effect.
You know what? That's such a white drug. There's like very
Meth?
few. That's a white trash drug, generally speaking.
Meth?
That's how it. Yeah. Yes.
Yes. And
you go to
I just-
small rural towns
Yes.
in the states,
I just
and
saw-
meth is very prevalent. It ruins communities.
Big rural towns. You
Yeah.
go even like I just came from Miami and I was with my girl and this is the first time she went to Florida, right? So I rent a car, we drive, and we see a homeless person. The homeless here and the homeless there, it's two different. It's ages apart. It's like when you're homeless in the U.S., you homeless. You've got nothing. The only thing you got is your teeth in your mouth, and you ain't got much. Like your everything is
He said teeth and mouth. They were like, not that many teeth though, right?
exactly, and that's the point.
I think it's more like tooth.
And she's
you got
like-
tooth in your mouth. You know?
Exactly, and it's just I was trying to be polite.
Yeah.
But it's like
Don't worry, they're not listening to this. They don't have a connection.
No, my girl was like,
They're not at McDonald's. Like, what did you just say?
My-
Preach?
even-
I'm gonna get on my
dare
5-minute connection with my.
but my girl was
I'm
like,
a responsible Matthews. I'll have you
what
know.
the hell is this? My girl was like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? I'm like, that's a U.S.
Yeah.
homeless. You see how their money is bigger. Well, their homeless is
Homeless as fuck.
it's crazy. It's two words apart. It's like homeless people don't speak two languages. Homeless people don't have an apartment or a cell phone. They don't have necessarily.
That's a little confusing. I don't think you can be homeless and have an apartment.
Yeah, there's homeless. It's like.
Isn't that literally the definition of homeless?
Yeah, well, you know the people that the people
That's houseless.
the people that the people that we consider homeless here, people that are in the street and asking for money and stuff like that. Some of them have apartments.
That's
Some of
unacceptable.
them.
That's unacceptable.
It is.
That's
It
fine.
is.
That's why I
but-
don't give money to Canadian homeless people. They're the most overqualified homeless people in the world. They got an apartment and motherfuckers speak two languages. You know how offensive that is? Like when you try to say, like they ask you for money and they speak English to you.
And
I'm like,
I don't
sorry,
speak French.
French.
Do you have $2? You got more credentials than me, motherfucker. What the fuck is this?
Tienes dinero. They know like
What?
6 languages, bro. They're coming out. Arabic, whatever you want.
We're gonna take up point. That nigga's white. He's white and he's got.
Speaks multiple languages.
Yeah, but it's really different. And
Meth is specific though. I feel like meth,
Yeah.
you look at their face, you know, because they normally got little holes in spots. Like there's little dark spots. It looks very different when you see a meth addict.
like meth, like it's like I see them and you're like, wow, you have 2 weeks to live. It's
Yeah.
like you're not well, bro.
No.
You're not well. Like drugs. It's like the drug. I've seen some bad things here.
Yeah.
But never as bad as in the States. Like I don't know if the meth is better.
You know what
I
it
don't know
is?
what it is, but
Go ahead.
I've heard this is one of those Montreal rumors that you're like, I don't know if there's any truth, but I've heard people spread it. I've heard that whoever controls the drug trade here, mafia, is from what the fuck do I know, right? But that's what people say, and that they purposefully, whoever's controlling it, purposefully keeps crack and meth and those things outside of Montreal. And if anyone tries to deal those here, they'll
Yeah,
gone.
well, there's a
But
reason
the-
for that. The reason for that is pretty specific. It's that because it draws a lot of police attention, it becomes a real public hazard.
That's
They know there's going to be a police response, so they
was-
know if they just deal in the stuff that's more safe, what ends up happening is that they can continue to deal without issue. They won't have to deal with police crackdown or government intervention. Oh, just deal that stuff. We'll take our lobbying money from you, and we're straight. And so
There's-
it's very
There's-
well orchestrated.
There's a story in actually Hochelaga where there was fentanyl that was starting to come in, and the police couldn't find who it was, and the people that beat the guys that were selling fentanyl was
Mafia.
them, mafia,
Yeah,
and bikers.
So-
they buzz because first you're selling on my territory, and now you're killing my customers.
So,
That's right.
just to be clear, so mob members beat up the guy who was selling fentanyl because he was messing with their
Yeah,
But that's
it was
that's
messing with- it was
that's
messing
been
with the-
around. That's
Yeah,
been around for
but
a long
it's
time.
it's just crazy. It's like yo, we're not trying to bring fentanyl here.
No.
We prone healthy drug use.
heroin.
You
Get
know
those
that
people nice and
heroin,
sedated.
But basically, it ruins the market. It's even like us for comedy. You know what I mean? Like, let's say if there's like a set price for like a standard show,
Yeah.
and someone comes in and they start selling at like garbage prices, and
Yeah.
they start selling services, then it ruins it for everyone else.
Yeah.
And so we have to curb that as like a union or whatever to some degree. They're doing the same thing to protect their market share.
But it's just go back to the homeless. It's like it's two different worlds.
Yeah, but that's not just drugs, though. It's not just because drugs. It's also because of government outreach.
Yeah.
The states, Americans, they don't care that much. Like now they're getting to a point where they have to care because, like, especially with fentanyl, it's white children who are getting hit
Yeah.
by it, right? But before, they have to, like, we get one shooting and we start changing laws. You know what I'm saying? We start going to the street. They will take mad punishment before they start to
Yup.
do anything. And so that's like also the big difference is that our governments are very different than theirs.
Because to them is really like, well, if you're in that situation, it's self-inflicted. It's your fault. So you got yourself in there, get yourself out of there. You got family members, we're not gonna help you. That's the feeling that I have. Where here, there's a lot more support that you have for these people. It's just crazy the difference that it makes, man. You see them, okay, that person is lost. This guy's just tweaking, walking down the street, taking his shirt off, putting his shirt back, taking it off, and that was just during a stoplight. That was just him passing in front of us. That he went through 50 shades of different weather cycles, like taking it off, putting it back, putting it backwards, put it back on. The light turned green. My girl was like, "What is that?" I'm like, it's real out here.
Looking like
Shades of Cray.
It's
50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
But to bring it back to what I was talking about before, is like, I'm always thinking about that. Like, how much content are we putting out? What are we encouraging in the audience that we're doing? Because, like, generally speaking, we don't make content just to make content. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not there.
There's a lot of topics that we discuss. It's like, you want to cover this? I'm like,
no. Yeah. Because I don't want to just be dead air time for you. I don't want you to be like a time filler. I want you to like leave the experience like I haven't taken something for real. Not I'm saying that everything has to be profound, but generally speaking, I'd like more of that than less of it. You know what I'm
there's
saying?
a lot of videos that we trashed.
Yeah.
Well, that you trashed.
Well,
you're the one that goes through that, and like you manage it like the content, and you're like, this was not hitting home, trash. So there's a lot that we hit. There's a lot that you trash because
it's not worth
it.
it.
We filmed that thing. What happened to that? I had to trash it. It was not good enough. All right, on to the next one.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to. Yeah, it's a bit it goes with the same reason why we wouldn't have a podcast. It's just because you don't want to. Just meh. And that's when you were cringing because we were talking shit, and you're like, "Oh, this is dead air."
I don't mind dead air. You know, like me specifically pooping that I don't like to get into too long. That's just I don't know for me because I just picture buttholes the whole time, and it's just very visual.
That's why I like it, actually.
because you picture buttholes.
I picture the ones I want to picture. You know what I mean?
We got a lot of black fans, so they be like, "Yeah, what seems suspect?"
But to black people, everything is suspect.
Yeah, that's why you gotta
Everything is
pause
suspect.
after everything.
Everything is suspect.
Yeah, I
I've
was feeling what he was doing. Pause. I'm like, no, I was talking about his work. Pause.
Everything is suspect.
Yeah.
It's suspect. Ooh,
I'm just saying I find him sexually attractive.
No, that's a super pause. That's not a
pause.
That's a super
That's
pause.
not a pause. That's a stop.
I was trying to do a rule of threes where it's like simple, absurd.
That's one thing that as well. That like the African American U.S. is very
U.S. Africans are even worse.
Africans are even worse, yeah.
They Epstein you.
Yeah.
If you do the sucky to men over there.
You take the anus
and they lick it like ice cream.
And lick it and suck the poo-poo out of the anus.
That was the best.
Hajat, look at this one. Look at this one. Astagfirullah. I watched that video like 10 times.
What the homosexuals are doing in the privacy.
Yes, I've taken time to do a little research.
Oh,
to find out what homosexuals are doing in the privacy of their bedroom, okay? Now, this is a parental guidance moment. Yes, that child can be removed.
The rest of you must hear this.
If you haven't seen that video, it's called Eat the Poo Poo, okay?
Oh, shit.
And if you've never seen this video,
They eat the poo-poo out of the anus.
the funniest part is they go through these renditions of what happens, and then halfway through he's like, this is a parental guidance moment. So halfway through the description of what happens, he's like, yes, that child can now leave. He's traumatized.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And then at the very end, you see a giant rally, and it's the same pastor. He says, hey, is this what Obama wants to bring to Africa as a human rights activist for your children to eat the poo-poo? And all the kids go, ah! And the funny thing is to look at the faces of the white journalists who are sitting there, and they're just like,
What the fuck is going on?
it looks like a bad SNL sketch.
Oh my god, I forgot about that video. That shit changed my life. And they practice fisting, and then he does this, and they put their hand deeper in the anus, and he goes like.
As me, it kills me when he shows the Hajjat, huh? Wasim, huh? Astaghfirullah.
And it's crazy because like apparently like because I'm working on that sex podcast and we have some numbers.
Shit.
It's not a lot of gays that practice anal sex. There's more straight people that practice anal sex. Than
Probably not by
gays.
percentages though.
Yes, by percentages. There is probably more.
Yeah, because you have to. What other options?
Most
mean,
of people they
no,
just, they
manage
just
to
suck
you
on
wanna
each other
get-
and that's it. They don't. They
No,
don't
no.
enter
The other option
in
is you
with-
ate to the poopo, man. The other option.
You suck the head off.
No, but like they have. I'm not saying they all do it, but obviously by percentage, there's gonna be more than not. More gays than straights.
There's
that
probably
do.
research on that, right?
They definitely do
Probably
it more
like
than straight
an
people.
experiment,
I'm pretty sure they're not, but whatever.
double blind.
I bet money on it. There's no way. I think those numbers are probably set
You
up.
bet money on it?
Yeah, I bet money on it. Pause.
You didn't have to pause there.
Yeah.
Man. What is it?
Yeah.
What happened in the U.S. that they have to pause? Yeah, no, pause. That's
Well, we know
pause.
history with slavery and
Yeah.
homosexuality
Yeah.
definitely runs deep. And then also, black people, generally speaking, are like absurdly God fearing in like a weird way.
It's stupid.
Yeah, they're God fearing to a point where it's like, you know, there's this idea that like black people are inherently very left leaning, but they're actually super right leaning on a lot of like sexual related
Yep.
stuff. And so what you end up finding out is like black people, they predominantly voted against, for example, same sex marriage.
Yeah.
They voted like huge numbers. Even in liberal states, they
Yeah.
voted against it. Even abortion, a lot of them are against that too. And so that's just the God aspect of it.
It's just crazy. Yeah, in the States, it is massive.
Yeah.
Amount of money that they give the church and stuff like that. And I get that, but it's just where you find where it's from is just crazy to me. It's just how they use religion to enslave us, and then you're just gonna go around and adore this white Jesus, even if that Jesus is black, you're gonna adore that person on that perspective. It's just like, you know, going at night and kissing goodbye to the picture of your rapist on your good night, and then there's a person that did you bad all those years, but you're still like, oh yeah, I praise him. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's
But it's more nuanced than that, because at the end of the day, like that gathering of people, you know, them getting together for those experiences help them get through some tough stuff.
I get that.
You know, the pastors and their guidance help them deal with some stuff. So, you know, you can't just look at it from this perspective of like you kissing that. Like there's a whole embodiment of what that culture of religion is like for them.
I was in there. I was in that culture of religion, and even like when you go to Haiti, I mean, yes, it helps you pass through a lot of stuff, but it helps you sometimes. It doesn't help you go past that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In Haiti, people are really like, oh, yo, God, love Jesus everywhere, even on the tap, which is pretty much like the transportation over there. Everything is painted and stuff like that, but that's what keeps the country at a state that it's at. You know what I mean? It's no, we're gonna hope for better. You know, it's okay. I'm dealing with this bullshit right now. I'm gonna go to heaven later, which is like,
The opiate of the masses.
yeah, which
I think it's necessary though. I think religion is necessary, especially for regular people.
yeah,
Yeah, they need it. They need it
And
because you can't, you know, for a lot of people, they can't just work as a janitor their whole lives without thinking that there's something else coming
Yeah.
afterwards. For some people, they need that sense of hope, and so that's why I try not to poo-poo religion too hard because of the bring back the poop stuff. I try not to.
Try not to poo-poo on the religion.
Yeah, no, I really try
As
not
long
to.
as you don't eat it, we are okay.
Like, you know, it's a hard existence.
Yeah.
You know, like when you grow in abject poverty in those areas, like how do you keep hope? Without religion, these people got nothing.
True.
And so, you know, whenever I have my criticism of religion, I always try to balance it out with understanding its positive and what it's done for people. And, you know, having attended churches and stuff and just like going to watch, I did feel something really important in that gathering of people.
It's true. You've never been to church before. Well,
I know
you
I've been a
have
few
now.
times. I've been a few
now
times.
you've been a few times. But
Yeah.
I mean, when you grew up.
But even in Islam, like when you get together for Friday prayer, there's something beautiful about everyone in that same chant, going up and down, right? And just doing the prayer together as a unit and just listening to the imam. So for me, I understand how that gathering of people, those same values matters to people.
Yeah.
If it's something that's giving you hope, making you a better person, and gives you meaning in your life, then that's a beautiful thing, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm all for it, even if I don't necessarily believe in what you believe in.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Well, I've had to really change that over time because I remember, like, especially when I left Islam, you know, like, stop
Yeah.
being. I was never really, truly like a Muslim person, but you know, from the jump, from the start, for me personally, I remember like I don't believe in this stuff, but I remember sitting in when everyone was gathered around, and I really appreciate even like Eid, for example, which is like pretty much our equivalent of Christmas, when we would all sit down and have a giant meal, and you'd get your presents, and there was that religious ceremony, just that togetherness that it brought people with under that idea. That was always fun for me. Those were always amazing, and so. Yeah, now that I'm older and I've had to experience like Christian churches, like it just gave me more of a balanced view on the whole thing. Even if I do see the negatives and how it's like anything, right? You take it to an extreme, it becomes too much. When people are selling tickets to heaven and you're buying because you're that desperate, that's a problem to me.
That's a problem.
Like when they do the paid evangelical stuff, to me that's always been super weird. Where you got pastors who are flying around in jets.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Wearing
I'm like
new Gucci suits every sermon and shit.
Yeah, that makes me uncomfortable, 100%. I think that's something you definitely have to curb. But I think the middle ground there is definitely very necessary.
If they're like, I'm not going to be the one that's going to be like, I'm not going to go and protest against it.
Right.
I'm just going to be like, and move on.
Right.
Basically.
Right.
Do your thing. If they with it, like I said, I'm not gonna parent them.
No.
I'm not gonna be doing some parenting. But I know that if I want to start a business that I'm gonna make money, I'm gonna start a search. You know what I mean? I know where I'm going if I want to.
You can make mad money.
Tax free
money. Hey,
tax
free, bro.
Yeah,
the best business is gonna be.
Me, it's the
I'm gonna
pastors.
start a church.
The pastors and the people who don't believe, but they start stuff just to make money.
course.
Like, you know what? Like, you are selling people hope that you yourself don't believe to be real.
Yeah.
That's the weird part. You know what I mean? It's not like you're just selling a product that's yours and like whatever, they like it, they don't. You are telling them a promise that if you invest enough money in me, Jesus, right, this mythical figure will see this and will send you into the afterlife to this place where everything is magical.
But isn't that like any people that are doing investment and stockbrokers and stuff like that? If you invest in me or in the product that I'm selling you, I can guarantee you money and that you're going to be good in the afterlife. Afterlife being retirement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but no.
Right, but I think the former is worse.
No.
When you're selling some spiritual, non-physical
different
thing.
degree, but
Yeah.
I mean,
We know there's a risk with the stock market. Even your investment broker will tell you, like, this is like a low risk.
man, there's a risk that the pastor sleeps with one of the people, the churchgoers. You know what I mean? That's a risk you have to take.
Okay, I don't understand.
Sin is a sin.
Yeah, but that's nothing to do with the person going to heaven or not.
Yes, of course.
Like if we're
you
just
could
taking if we're taking the example of the pastor and we're taking the example of the stockbroker.
Oh yeah, that's what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when I'm going to stock, I'm recognizing there's still a small risk that my investment may go poo poo, right?
Yeah.
When I'm doing
what?
poo poo. You guys are stuck in my head. I've told you. I've been thinking about buttholes this whole 45 minutes. It's your fault. And so, pause. Big pause.
Big pause.
Big pause. That's the name of the
Double
first
pause.
episode.
Big pause.
Shit.
Big poo poo pause.
But if you press pause twice, that's play. So. Make sure it's a odd number of pauses.
Take your shit. Get the fuck out of here. Take all your shit. Get the fuck out of here.
Yo, you know what that made me think of? 2 L's make a W.
No, here's the shit.
That's genius. You press pause.
Pause. But if you pause twice, that's play.
You gotta have an odd number of pauses.
That's going on a t-shirt, nigga. We'll put a rainbow flag on it. If you pause twice,
That's play. Oh man.
that should be a parade float
Yeah.
for next Pride.
Yeah.
B. That was genius.
I'd be honored.
And your whole family back in Lebanon would be like, haram.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be able to show up to the parade, but I'd be like, yo, from afar. Like, cool.
You should see this guy with
can have
binoculars
that.
looking like he's gonna fucking do a terrorist attack, but he's actually just be like, I'm so proud.
That's
Duke
what
of the slogan. I don't know why I'm African now.
the poo-poo. It's because of the poo-poo.
Oh,
Shit, man. Oh, that's funny.
yeah, man. I've been thinking about religion a lot.
Yeah.
Even though I never have like.
You wanna
any
go
plans.
back?
No. I know it's not back for me, but like just going from that place of like never, it's terrible, it's the worst, to where I'm at now, it's like a huge change.
What would you, if you had to like label yourself as like, are you atheist, agnostic? Do you believe in some kind of orb? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
Something.
you know, some people are like, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious or whatever, or what.
Which is a
you know,
religion.
I would agree. Like the
I'm
new
spiritual.
age
I'm
spiritualism
spiritual.
is a religion.
I don't believe in religion. Oh my God, this guy's a Leo. We don't go together. That's a religion. You have beliefs, and if you are not responsible for the things that are happening to you because of a higher force, whether you call it God, Allah, or the stars.
Hala, I think that's egg bread. But yeah.
I don't know, bro. I don't speak the goddamn language.
It's a Jewish bread, but very good bread, by the way.
Very good bread.
Challah bread, if you ever
And
go
some
to,
people believe in the bread.
Jewish deli.
Anyways,
Some people do believe in the bread.
That's
right.
besides the
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Whether you believe in whatever it is, if you believe that a bigger being the stars controls how that person's gonna react to you, and I'm just gonna rub these quartz and stones, and it's gonna protect me. That's religion.
Yeah.
But they're gonna pass it off as a spirituality. It's still a religion. Like, stop.
How do you think the Bikram yoga guy happened?
The what?
The Bikram yoga.
Oh, man.
How'd that guy happen? That's a religion.
That's a religion.
The moment you got brown skin and a ponytail, and you just go, white women just be like, he can do anything to me because he's Jesus to me. You know what I mean? Like, white people believe in guys like that. Bikram yoga is never going to pop off in Africa.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
It's not gonna happen.
But so I'm like, how did this goofy looking dude like do all this weird stuff in front of people this whole time? Religion.
Like, I'm talking about stepping on people.
What, Bikram guy?
Yo, Bikram
Yeah,
guy was
yeah.
intense.
I haven't done a lot of research, but it
Intense.
seems shady as shit.
Yeah, he's shady.
Yeah.
Shady. Yeah,
And that's shit, but people do that all the time. There's Bikram yoga places fucking all over.
Yeah,
the place.
everywhere.
Yeah, I've done it. I've done it a few times.
I've done it.
I
That's a
didn't- I
hot
didn't-
yoga?
Yeah, it's hot yoga, but it's like a specific set of sequences.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it's literally you go. It's every time it's the same poses. It's the same stuff. So it's a. If you're not a practitioner of yoga, it's like an intense workout.
I did hot yoga as well, but it was not Bikram.
Yeah.
It was under form.
What was your original question? The one where you asked me about religion?
Yeah, how would you label yourself, like,
Yes.
if you had to?
Yeah, you know what I always tell people? I just sound like, I just try to be a decent person. You know what I mean? I try to be a decent person who contributes
But
to
you're
the
not.
He tries.
tries. Hence the effort I'm putting into it.
But you're not really putting any much effort in
Okay.
it.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. But yeah, I just try to do that.
He put the preacher to preach it.
Judge G not.
But yeah, just try to do that, and that's it. Whatever happens afterwards happens. I always told myself, if you try to be a good person, and you get up to the gates of heaven, and they're like, no, it's like if there is an afterlife, and they're like, yeah, you didn't fucking pray 5 times a day. I'm like, I don't want to. Just send me to hell. Because like if it's not enough to just take care of your neighbors, to take care of the people around you and try to do good, then what kind of heaven is that really?
Yeah.
That's one thing I always had a problem. I remember I was dating a girl one time, and she was from the South. I think she was from North Carolina, and deeply religious. Like American deeply religious is next level.
Yeah.
Like they're Christians. Yeah, she's like virgin till everything, like all that stuff. And we were talking. And
So
she's
that
like,
didn't last much.
well, no. Some stuff will down.
Oh,
You know what I mean? You don't like, just like the gays don't have to. We didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
decent person.
All right. Pause. So
So you did or you didn't eat the poo poo? I just want to. Go on.
The face says it all. Yeah, but what were you saying?
So,
what were you saying?
that was crazy.
What were you saying?
Sorry, I had a
You had the
flashback.
flashback.
Had to take a moment there. So, yeah,
When the dude has flashbacks. Yeah.
it just makes me laugh because you know what? Like, I didn't get my ass eaten until like 15 years after losing my virginity. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took a long time.
She ate your ass.
No, I ate hers, but she was
Oh.
a virgin.
Nothing like
Touch for the
virgin
very
ass.
first time.
No, I mean, like, so it's kind of
the
weird
best
that like
ass to eat.
she skipped a whole bunch of steps that went right to level 22.
Yeah.
From nothing to like, yo, the ultimate boss, but you still haven't done your sword training. Like, that's impressive to me.
God says nothing about eating ass. To be fair,
Nothing.
In the
Nowhere.
Bible?
Nowhere in the Bible.
Actually, they say
Corinthians
make sure
69.
nothing's left on your plate. Eat your food.
Eat that poo poo.
Nah, I eat them groceries. So, yeah, so I just tell myself, just try to be a decent person and get there. And then whatever happens, happens. And to me, that makes the most sense. Because I like, what kind of God would be like, yeah, you fine, but if you didn't do this or this, you don't deserve to get
Yeah.
it. And so when I was with this girl, that was really conflicting for me because she said, yeah, like, we can't be together because you're not saved. And that's when I first learned about that term. It's like, saved means like you found Jesus or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but what if I live my whole life and I'm a decent person? She's like, it doesn't matter. You're gonna burn in hell, which is a pretty intense thing to say to someone you're dating. And I was like, okay. What about people who've never heard of Jesus? You know what I mean? Like they live in like some tropical forest in the Amazon and no one's ever brought the word of God. They're going to hell. Yeah. And I was like, well, that kind of sucks. Like you didn't even give me a chance. Yeah. And so that was very tough for me to accept that like people can really live through life that way. But yeah.
I saw something that was funny, and it was a Satanist that was talking, and he was saying, we don't believe in literal Satan. Mm-hmm. And there's a Christian that said, well, who does? He's like, Christians.
I saw that too. That's brilliant.
That floored me, man. Yeah. It killed me. It's like, it's you guys. Yeah. It was just a way of thinking, but you really think he exists and he's there and he's just he's this monster with horns. You talk about him more than we do. Yeah. We just have a way of that floored me. It was it was great. Great moment.
But that's a weird name to have if you don't believe in Satan. You know what I mean? Like Satanist, and you don't believe in Satan.
It's in the way of doing things.
But it's just terrible branding.
Yeah,
it's the worst branding possible. It's like the term toxic masculinity. People are, well, we're not talking about all top masculine. I get that, but just like the term, the way it's branded, it just rings off terribly. Satanist to me, and you say you don't believe in Satan. I'm just all kinds of bad things are firing off.
We don't call everything racism. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Meaning, we don't call when a black person bleaches his skin to look more white. Oh, that's racism. No, it's because of colorism, which is, you know what I mean? Which is, we do that for racism. We have all these subcategories. That's, yes, it's linked to racism and colonialism and all of that. We have, but when we talk about toxic masculinity, everything is toxic masculinity. Like there's no subcategories for that. I understand that it's all from patriarchy and stuff like that, but the way they say it, like, everything is just that. Yeah, when a woman does it, but that's toxic masculinity. You mean when a bunch of women are acting a certain way, it's still toxic masculinity. There's no man around, and it's but it's because of the, and then he trickle it down.
Internalized misogyny.
And then he trickle it down, and I'm like, well, call it something else. Call it something else. Call it something more effective than everything cannot be toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things that can be toxic.
The patriarchy is the same thing. The patriarchy is everything and nothing.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Yeah.
Like you ask people to pin it down, and you're like, I don't, okay. But then they give you these examples. Patriarchy, I'm like, okay. But then the patriarchy is also this, and you're like, all right, I don't understand the definition.
But what is it at its core?
It's a system. I hate when people bring up systems. You know what I mean? Because then systems just sounds like a bunch of things that are linked, it's impossible to see the wires.
You know what it sounds like?
What
is it? You see, at this company called ACN, it sounds like a pyramid scheme. That's what it sounds like. It's a system. It's a system that we use to get money. This is in the South Park. You know, first we get the trousers, then profit. That's your system. Your system is bullshit.
But to come back to the branding thing, the reason why I brought that up, like racism, I understand that's a fine word because it doesn't describe or it doesn't label any one thing as this. It's pretty open-ended and it's simple to use within anything. But for example, like, you know, with toxic masculinity, like another parallel is like, let's say if we took crime in Chicago.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, that's evil blackness.
Yeah.
Because it technically is a form of evil, like what they're doing to somebody, right? But the term evil blackness, just when you hear it, even if I say it's just about the people if you heard the term, you can see how it's
all black people.
The term, and I always tell people like the words they use to describe whatever movement matters. There's a reason why companies, when they build their slogan, they pay millions of dollars at an ad firm to make sure they get the right words because they understand those words are going to have a constant effect on how they're viewed. And so I always tell people, you can say it is this. I get it. I get what you say when you say toxic. I understand. But how it comes off and how we program it in our brain immediately, we registered as masculinity is toxic just because of the word toxic.
Absolutely.
And the way the phrase works. You can't just use a phrase and be like, this is what it actually means when we have a general understanding of those words separately. You know?
But if you give me a word or a set of words and you're like, but this is what it actually means, then your set of words is not good.
No.
Your set of words, you use different words. It's just not good. If you have to always explain what things mean, it's not good.
Yeah.
That's a hoe. What? But what a hoe is actually no. That's not what you said, bruh.
Yeah.
You said some other shit, and that's not what it means. Yeah, but we're gonna call it a hoe.
Yeah.
Call it a book. Call it something else. I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get that. That's
Yeah, I think it implies that masculinity is in itself toxic, right? That's what.
No,
I'm
it's actually
getting a
just
little
some aspects
Yeah.
of masculinity.
They call it yeah. Yeah, you trying to have this conversation with
Call it dudes doing fucked up shit. That's simple.
dudes doing fucked up shit.
Yeah, or understand that not everything can be relegated to 2 words. It's a complex problem. Like if you say to me some aspects of masculinity are toxic, I'm like, of course. Anything in excess, we could definitely see how it's toxic. You can take aggression. Be like, aggression in excess is toxic. But in sports, the right amount of aggression is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
In business, the right amount of aggression is absolutely necessary. Even as a comedian, sometimes you got to be aggressive.
Yeah.
Aggression well managed is fine.
Yeah.
But when you just be like, yeah, aggression is toxic masculinity, then I'm like, we've removed the nuance. You've literally just told me something is this without adding what's necessary below it. And then we've lost any sense of understanding what the problem is. That's why people are like so over it. I'm just like, you are trying to simplify things far too much when they are complex. And you're simplifying it for your own pleasure,
Yeah.
for your own, just to make things easier for you. And I'm like, then don't engage in the conversation. If you don't want to open that door, then don't pop the door open and run away. Because now like a cold breeze is running in. People are like, yo, why is it so cold? This motherfucker. I mean, I'm pissed because my front door's open and you're not even there to have this conversation as to why you
And
opened
who's
it.
paying the bill?
I pay the hydro. I can't even turn up the fucking heat in my mom's house without her being like,
But the door's open.
but you opened the door to my place and
you
ran
left.
away. No, stay to finish this shit.
And I can't ask you why you left the door open.
Because of the patriarchy, though. That's what I think that's what it comes back to.
It's funny. It makes you think of something that I saw again. I saw another thing where it was 2 people like having a conversation, and one was saying, "Oh, I'm zen right now. I'm super calm," and the guy was like, "Well, are you capable of great violence?" Like, what? Are you capable?
What a
Are
creepy
you
way to ask a
capable
question.
of great violence? No, I'm not a violent person. Then you're not zen. If you're not capable of great violence, you cannot do that and be calm. You're armless. You're not zen. You're not. You don't have the power to achieve this. So when you're calm, you're just armless. You got no powers. It's just that you're not zen.
It just dawned on me that I don't know what Zen
I don't know
actually means.
enough about Zen.
Yeah. I'm hearing your stuff. I'm like, is that what Zen means?
Zen is just being calm and just being relaxed.
Okay, so I think when they're saying that, they're just saying like I'm not in an agitated or angry state.
But like, I guess a
Yeah, but
samurai
if
would be
you-
Zen. Who's
Yeah, but if you
also-
cannot do the opposite, you're just
Is the opposite violence?
in some cases, yeah.
Okay, all right. You threw the fuck.
I
off
like
the
that
hook.
question though. It's so like, are you capable
So are
of
you
great
capable
violence?
of great violence? That's
It's like
very
the beginning of like some sick anime. There's a little kid, some samurai.
You're not capable of great violence. No, I'm a great person. I'm just nah.
Yeah, but there's like any the problem is with a term like toxic masculinity, which I'm not necessarily against. Like I don't really give a shit either way. It's just that any bad.
That's because you can not give a
That's
shit.
right. I
your
have
toxic-
privilege. That's my privilege.
That's privilege.
Talking. That's absolutely right. That's my.
Oh man,
That's
the
my.
cringe. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
White beige male privilege.
Your beige privilege.
It's funny though. Yeah, my
Your beige privilege.
beige privilege is
Much like BP, you're very toxic. Remember the BP oil spill? That's a throwback reference. Keep
Throwback.
I
going.
do. It's coming back. Yeah.
What are you saying?
But yeah, any human trait you don't like can just become, well, that's toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
Any human trait at all, you're like, well, it can trace back to this thing.
Are you? Is it toxic
then-
or are you allergic to that shit? I mean,
Yeah, or
a banana is not toxic. Some people are allergic
but if you
to
eat
that shit.
65 bananas
I mean, you're gonna have a potassium overload, but
and
and the poo
the boo boo comes out like ice cream.
What?
But yeah.
But that's what it is. Sometimes, yeah.
But there's also aspects of, I'm straying off a little bit, but there's aspects of, I guess you would say traditional masculine traits, if you really want to separate human traits into gender, that I think we all agree are needed. Let's say in stand-up comedy, that was a good example. It's like, you want to be assertive and you want to be like more than confident, or else the audience doesn't trust you at all. You know what I mean? There's been times where personally, where I'm like maybe a bit too self-deprecating and I'm trying to make jokes, and I lose the audience because like, well, if you don't trust yourself, I'm not going to trust you either.
Yeah.
And I guess you could consider, like, in those traditional fucking graphs, they'll make, like, assertive aggressiveness as a masculine trait. But it's like, nobody's going to trust me. Not even the most, super left feminist is going to watch. She'll lose me. She's not going to be like, oh, he's self-deprecating and shitting on, oh, that's great. She's going to be like, no, I don't trust you because grow some balls, motherfucker.
But it's a spectrum because... It's just that we use different words from the spectrum. It's not going to be the same word no more. If you're too assertive, at some point you're going to become cocky, and that's going to become the thing that's not even going to be. And that's not even. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's not even going to be necessarily cocky. That's not necessarily going to be toxic. It's just going to be something that some people are not going to like, depending where you go in for some people. So it's just meh. Like, what is this toxic thing? What is the thing? What's a feminine trait? What would be a feminine trait? What would be something?
Neuroticism. Literally.
Okay.
Neuroticism, actually, like, women rate higher on neuroticism. Mm-hmm. That's why, like, when people are like, wow, women are a little, like, factually speaking, women do rate higher in neuroticism. Men do rate higher in aggression. Like, this is like psychology. One of, like, it was like a big study that happened a long time ago.
Neuroticism.
Yeah.
And explain that.
Neuroticism is basically like, it's hard to kind of explain, but overanalyzing, basically coming to like illogical conclusions and sometimes reacting too irrationally to certain situations.
But sometimes they're right.
I'm not saying.
Hold on. Sometimes they're right. Sometimes that shit is toxic. It could become toxic.
100%.
The same way. But we don't say toxic feminism.
Femininity? Yeah. Yeah, we don't call it that.
Oh, I said what I said.
Two different things. Yeah, I get what you're trying to say. Yeah.
We don't use that word, but it exists. It is there. It sometimes at some point become a problem.
Two extremes of a spectrum.
Yeah.
And like any of these traits are they're human traits, right?
Yeah.
People might say like empathy and compassion or like
too much is bad.
Are feminine traits, right? Which are things that are like inherently seem good, but it's like it's the other. On one side, you're super aggressive, just maybe super self-centered and not empathetic at all.
Yeah.
And on the other side, being overly
you become
neurotic,
gullible.
You self-destruct.
It's just the word changes depending on where it is in the spectrum. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, being very caring and stuff. Like if you care too much, and if you become gullible to anything. If you become you have empathy to people, you become gullible to everything, and that's not good. That's not good either. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it could be self-destructive, I think, from the other. Whereas like maybe the super, let's say, masculine traits, you might be destructive outwardly. The other one, you're kind of destructive.
You're going to be cast out. You're going to be cast out, and you're going to be destroying your own stuff at some point.
Yeah, but even like femininity, traditional feminine traits, to the extremes are actually very outwardly destructive. Like there's a concept called maternal gatekeeping, where a mother becomes so caring that she becomes suffocating to her children.
Sure.
She stunts their growth. This is like a real psychological phenomenon. It's well documented. And there's a lot of kids who grew up in these environments where their mothers like pretty much strangled them and never let them develop as real human beings. And it destroys any chance these kids have at actually developing into people.
I know some people like that.
Yeah, I know mothers like that too personally. So I always say, like, all these things can manifest in terrible ways, but I think labeling them toxic femininity or toxic masculinity doesn't do it justice. And I feel like, especially with a lot of the more male-dominant traits that can be very destructive, like aggression, violence or whatever it might be, we're trying to throw the baby out with the bathwater, not realizing that there is a point to stoicism. Not outwardly showing emotion is important in a lot of situations. You know what I'm saying? Like, when a crisis happens, I need you to keep your shit together. I ain't got no time to see that you're like,
oh my god, blood. What is, hey, keep your composure.
It reminds me of that Bill Burr bit
things
where
need to happen.
He's on a plane and there's like crazy turbulence and he just hears some guy go and he's like, shut the fuck, like get your shit together for everybody here.
No, 100%. And it is necessary in certain situations. Like when I was in the military, like we couldn't afford for you to be on the front lines crying your life out because shit was popping off. You got to keep your shit together and keep your emotions in check. Obviously, when you're never able to speak about it, it is a problem. But being able to contain it is absolutely necessary. And look, women can say whatever they want. I don't care what you believe in as a lady, but what I do know is whatever you say is very contrary to what you actually want. Because we all know in dating situations, when men get too emotional, women tune them out.
Real quick.
Because even them at their genesis, they also understand what they want from their partners for the most part.
Yeah.
So I just hate that we're like, stoicism is terrible. Men we don't have to be you, ladies. We don't have to be exactly like you. Our differences don't necessarily make us better or worse. We just are different and we complement each other. And anything in excess is bad, but don't throw out the whole trait. Like aggression is the one that bothers me the most. Because people say aggression, yeah, men are too overly aggressive. And I'm like, yeah, but we love it in a lot of circumstances. In the bedroom, right? In our athletes, in our entertainers. Like, I can't watch a hip-hop show that has no aggression.
Have you ever seen those, what's it called, those freestyle battles, and it's just compliment?
Bruv, that shit drives me nuts. What was that right there?
This is a virus threat.
Okay.
That's dumb.
Hip hop with no aggression. Is that R&B? I'm ignorant. I'm sorry.
Yeah. All right, well, listen, let's end the
All right,
discussion. That was a great ending point.
Yo, buy my t-shirt.